fading. We gotta go. I'll get my car. I brought mine. Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bat Dan's Discussions. So, yeah, we keep getting more and more news about the potential Snyderverse revival and the potential sale of Warner Brothers to Netflix. So, yes, we got a lot more to talk about. And before I bring on my guests for today, just want to say a quick shout out to the chat. What up, DC Talk? What up, Dennis Medina? Hello, Socks, and if you have not checked out Socks' stream last night on his channel that he and I were both on together. So, pointing right here. There we are. Okay, yeah. So, check it out. It was a really great discussion. You know, it's not formatted like this stream where we kind of have one topic and subtopics. Socks' stream, we just can go on very different things. So, it's a completely different experience from this channel, which I really like. So, because I like variety and whatnot. But so check it out. And nope, this ain't an MCU stream. Your stream was a semi-MCU stream, though. And what up, J-Mar? So please welcome ZodWriter. How are you, man?
Hey, man. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me as always. Hello to the chat. Hope everybody's doing well.
It's always great having you on, Zod. And anytime, Socks, anytime. And what up, DC Talk? So how are you feeling with all this news we're getting?
It feels prophetic in a way, you know. The late, great Mikey Sutton predicted an awful lot of things, and I think this was another one that he most likely got right. So this will be another win for Mikey.
Yeah. Yes. Shout out to you, Mikey. Hashtag Mikeyverse forever. So, yeah, we're going to be covering all this stuff today, all this great stuff. And before we do that, we can't do a show on Bat Dan's thoughts, any show, whether it's Bat Dan's discussion, Marvelous discussion, Space-tastic discussions, without a little shout out to One Punch Dan, the One Punch Dan cinematic universe specifically. So,
yeah, I'm glad you brought up the One Punch Dan cinematic universe specifically, because I'm going to give you guys one small spoiler on today's show, just because of the theme of today's show and everything that we're talking about. So just so that everyone knows, there is a reference to the SellSnyderverse to Netflix movement in the One Punch Dan movie. So I just wanted to, you know, point that out, because you see, there's a lot of people out there that just like to pretend that One Punch Dan doesn't exist, that I don't exist, that the movie that I'm making doesn't exist. So I just want people out there to know that One Punch Dan is a movie that is a love letter to this community. It is a tribute to Dreamwalker and the late great Mikey Sutton. And it is my way of honoring the man that meant so much to us, as well as honoring Mikey's family as well, because Mikey's family did give me permission to put Mikey into the movie. So I am very, very humbled and happy to be putting this out, and it is nearly completed. And as soon as it is done, I'm going to make the announcement that the movie is done. There will be probably some early screenings. Bat Dan and I will definitely have an in-person screening where we'll watch it together. But it is going to be done. It is my intention to release it January or February. So that's when it will officially be. It will be officially out. But I did want to give that one small spoiler, because I kind of feel like I want people to understand that this is not that just because, okay, I've been away working on a movie and don't have time to pop up in everybody's chats all the time and don't have time to participate as much as I was before doing a movie. This is a very difficult, and unfortunately in my case, it's a very, very solitary experience. It's it's a lot of work. It's fun, but it's also very tedious. There's a lot that goes into it. It's very difficult, and I will definitely go into details on the making of the movie once the movie's done, and fill you guys in on all the boring and yet consequential things I had to do to get this movie made. And so yeah, I definitely excited, and I wanted to give that little spoiler out, because this way you guys know that it is referenced, and I do care about the SellSnyderVerse movement, even though I don't know, I feel like, I honestly feel like I'm kind of getting like sidelined, or I don't know what would be the best way to put it, like getting treated lesser than, just because I went off and decided to do a movie to honor this community. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for everybody to see it, and I'm just happy to be here with you, Bat Dan, talking about all these wonderful topics.
Absolutely, Zod. Absolutely. And as always, I'm excited for One Punch Dan. I'm excited for One Punch Dan to kick Just Josh's ass. So January 2026, be on the lookout.
It's just so funny that you'd say that. You would say those words. Remember those words that you just said when you watch. Before you sit down to watch One Punch Dan, just remember those words that you said right now. Make a note of those words.
Okay. Okay. So, me too, J-Mar. Me too. And now I just want to give another little reminder about things. So, I saw Frankenstein yesterday, the new movie by Netflix. I spelled Frankenstein right. I'm right. I always...
Isn't that on Netflix, that movie, Frankenstein? You can watch it?
Not yet. It releases on Netflix on the 7th. But right now it's just in theaters. And I saw it in theaters.
Wow, isn't that a peculiar thing? I thought Netflix wasn't interested in theaters.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, apparently. That's what
I've heard. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
You know they say, speak of the devil and he shall appear.
Well, I have to give a special shout out to Just Josh, and just to defer back to One Punch Dan a little bit, sorry to slide off topic for a moment here, but I have to say that Just Josh, he's an important character to the One Punch Dan universe. So important, in fact, that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of this, but he's getting his own spin-off in the form of a TV show where it's going to focus on the younger days of Just Josh prior to the events of the One Punch Man movie, and it also deals with the relationship between two of the main characters, Just Josh and Bishop, the partners in justice, and how they became friends, and when they were kids, and how they became superheroes. So you're going to get a lot of that. That's something else that's coming along. And as far as Socks, as far as Socks's question about the musical aspect of One Punch Man, I did remember Socks. I did show you that one element, and I did decide not to go in that direction. So there are no musical elements in the One Punch Man movie. It just didn't fit the tone for what the movie is, and it kind of felt out of place when I was going through editing. So there is no musical aspect of the in One Punch Man. So you can rest easy, Socks. The Cordovan Speedster does not break into song in the movie. Okay. Just Josh, the movie featuring One Punch Dope. That but no, but just to point that out. So you guys have a lot, to look forward to. Sorry to get off topic there for a minute, Bat Dan, but I just wanted to briefly address that, since Just Josh and the Cordovan Speedster are both in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem at all. But yeah, to get out of the One Punch Dope conversation a little bit, Just Josh. But yeah, Frankenstein, it was in theaters, and actually, Zod, I was going to see it on Halloween night.
Wow.
I was going to see it on 6:50. I was going to see a showing at 6:50, and there were no seats earlier. But then mysteriously at around 6 o'clock, I'm about to buy tickets on the app. It's not on there anymore. So I don't officially know this. I do want to make sure I emphasize this. I do not officially know this, but I'm wondering if it was sold out that night. A Friday night, Halloween, for a movie that people might associate with Halloween. Based on
it would make sense, given that it is a retelling of the Frankenstein story, correct? Would it not make sense? I mean, let's be honest. Frankenstein has been done to death. There are countless movies out there if you're a fan of Frankenstein. But I was a bit curious, and I do want to see this, so I am looking forward to watching it when it actually does appear on Netflix. But I am happy to hear that it got a theatrical, a small theatrical presentation. That's really awesome, man. What was your experience like? Was it nice?
Oh, I had a really great time seeing it. It was a nice. So, as you said, it is definitely a retelling of the book. It is 100%. I haven't read the original book ever, but I have an idea of how it went. And it's not a horror film. So it's definitely not I wouldn't categorize this as any type of Halloween film.
Okay.
It basically is, it's kind of like the efficacy of life. And you know how they say there's a common misconception that Frankenstein's not the monster? Or that they call Frankenstein the monster incorrectly.
Right. It's the movie should actually be called Frankenstein's Monster, because Frankenstein is actually the doctor, and the monster is his creation.
Well, see, that's when you watch this movie, that's not entirely true, and I'm kind of speaking more metaphorically when I say this. But if you watch the movie, Dr. Frankenstein really is the monster in this movie. Now, when I say this, I don't mean he's the creature. What I'm saying is...
No. The things he does, right?
Yes, I'm judging it based on his actions.
Yeah, he's a creepy a-hole. Yeah, that's the reality of that whole mythology. Think about how evil you would have to be in the first place to attempt to reanimate or to piece together a dead cadaver.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That would definitely, it's the efficacy of doing something like that. It's to create something like that, to give it feeling, and then treat it like less than human, even though it has human emotions. The creature has human emotions, and so a lot of this movie is told in flashback. Basically, it goes to the end of the book where they're in like the I don't know if they're in the Arctic. They're in some cold part of the planet, and it actually starts there. And then you see the flashback from. It's minor spoilers, but you basically get 2 flashbacks that make up the movie: Frankenstein's flashback and the creature's flashback, which I really liked. But one thing about this is, you know how sometimes when you watch an episode of a TV show and they're telling their story and they're flashing back to parts that they weren't there for, and you're like, how did you know this happened? You weren't there for it.
Yeah.
There is some of that in that movie. I'm like, okay, but how did Frankenstein know this happened? How did the creature know this happened? They weren't there for this either part of it. So I mean, there's some of that in there, but other than that, though, I really did enjoy the movie. I think Oscar Isaac did a phenomenal job. He did a really great job as Frankenstein, and I like how they told the story where you can kind of understand why he's doing it. You don't agree with it, but you understand it. But he also does some kind of scummy things too, like basically his brother's getting married, and he behaves towards his brother's fiance in ways he shouldn't. We'll just say that.
Uh-huh.
So
he sounds like a real winner. I mean, he sounds, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And the creature, you see him trying to adapt to life and it's really, and it shows that a lot of times he's just attacked just by being different, by looking like not human. So all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this thing he's attacking him. And it's like, there's one kind of scenario where he's blamed for something by walking in at the wrong place at the wrong time. He has one of those moments there too. You'll see, but it's really, it really is kind of a tragic movie all around. And so again, if you're going into this movie thinking, oh my God, it's this Frankenstein's monster, this is going to be some horror movie with jump scares, you're not going to get that. But it is still a really compelling story. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Frankenstein's dad is played by the Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. Not Tywin, he's not Peter Dinklage, but the other guy, the guy who was Joffrey's advisor, the Hand to the King.
Okay. Oh, the Hand of the King. Okay.
Yeah. At least I think it was him. It looked just like him and sounded like him. So, and it's, kind of thinking about this, I could be interpreting this movie wrong. So it seemed like he was really close to his mom, and the way he talked about his mom, I'm kind of wondering, were they going in a direction I think they were going in? Because that also is, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds a bit bizarre.
I mean, it was just the way he was like describing ways, like when his father was gone, he's like, "Mom's all mine," or something like that. I'm like, oh, huh, yeah. So, yeah, Frankenstein's a nutcase. Frankenstein is a nutcase. The creature is definitely the non-monster in this case. Like he's the creature, but he's not the monster. Frankenstein's the monster. So, but Netflix showed this in theaters. Netflix is clearly interested in theaters. They put that in theaters. I literally sat in a theater with a Netflix movie where they show the Netflix logo and they show the lightning, and it kind of like blends with like the lightning where Frankenstein gets reanimated.
Oh, but wow.
It was the Netflix logo I saw while sitting in a theater. So
it was just, and of course it was just a limited showing. It's not going to be showing for any length of time. That's it.
I don't think it's showing after this weekend, honestly. At least not the theater I was looking at.
Okay.
But, I mean, this is before they have an actual movie or theatrical studio, so.
Right. If you ask some people, Netflix doesn't like movie theaters, right? Isn't that what people always say?
Oh yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I heard, Zod.
Oh, Well, yeah, we hear a lot of things. I mean, maybe it's especially from people like Sean Gunn's burner account.
Yeah. Mhm.
Ah, boy.
But I wanted to make sure I saw this in theaters to support Netflix theatrical business and to say that with my own eyes, these two witnesses right here can say that Netflix has interest in theaters. I did not imagine being in that theater that day. And that's a good point too, Sox. That's a really good point too. And AMC used to be anti-Netflix.
See, once again, hashtag Mikey was right. That's all I'm going to say. I remember Mikey talking about this.
Yeah, burner account. So I think it's safe to say, I mean, check out Frankenstein. At this point, you'll have to wait till it's on Netflix, but that's this next weekend, so it's not that long of a wait. But I would say check it out. It's a really good movie. Again, don't watch this thing here and get some horror flick. You're getting it's weird because the genre category is listed as horror, but I really would not consider it a horror film. Like if you're not like, there's no jump scares in it.
So it's okay, yeah. So it's not like because like Nightmare on Elm Street, those are slasher movies. Winnie the Pooh. Even the new Bambi movie. That was okay. That was a horror film.
Yeah, not like that at all.
What's a good horror film that I highly recommend to everybody? There's a horror movie out there. It's called Good Boy. It's really good. It's an independent film horror movie. I think everybody should check it out. It's really unique. The whole movie is told from the perspective of a dog. It's really good.
A dog?
Yeah. A real dog. The whole movie is shown from the dog's perspective. And the dog doesn't, and it's not like the dog talks or anything like that. They don't humanize the dog or make the dog do anything or anything like out of the ordinary that an ordinary dog does. But it is definitely told from the perspective of a dog. It's a hell of a film.
Okay, definitely. I definitely want to check that out because that actually sounds very intriguing to me.
Yeah, I think I'd be interested to see your review on that. It's different for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to check that out too. Welcome to Derry. I just haven't had time. Again, working on an independent film myself, I've been a little busy, so I'm kind of, so it's kind of hard for me to catch up on as much as I'd like, stuff that I'd like to. But yeah, I definitely would like to see Welcome to Derry as well. I had to carve out a little bit of time so that I could play the new Mortal Kombat collection, given how big of a Mortal Kombat fan I am. So I had to carve out a little time for that as well, and that kind of stuff. And so it's hard finding free time because there's only so many hours in the day.
What up, Sin Havoc?
We got Sin Havoc in the chat. Yeah, see?
Which is why I'm thankful for ZodWriter making time to come on this stream.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I mean, I wouldn't miss it. I mean, you ask me to come on, and I'm always happy to come on and talk about all this stuff because, if I didn't stream with you, aside from streaming with you and then streaming occasionally with Qatar and Bishop over at Faith and Comics, I probably wouldn't really be streaming much at all because I don't have the time unless I'm, if I'm doing it myself. So yeah, it's been interesting. And that's another reason why I'm excited to get this movie finally done so I can get back to doing some other things that I enjoy doing that I don't have a chance to do much of these days.
Absolutely. And it's always a pleasure to have you on. And sorry, two things at once. And yeah, I did DC talk, but we'll get into that one. We can kind of get into that a little bit later. I didn't really get too much time to look at that one too much, but there might be a way I can segue that in one of my later topics. But
that was really fascinating, though. That whole thing about theaters. We've essentially just debunked the whole Netflix isn't into theaters thing. for real.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But they'll still try to run with that narrative, though. There'll be some people running with that narrative still, but
Yeah,
right.
Prime. That was the thing that I ran into too. I found the online to be atrocious. I only the entire time ever since launch, I've only been able to play 2 online matches, and they were very, very laggy. And you really couldn't do much. I lost both of them because I couldn't. The controls were terrible. So I don't know, but yeah, I'd like to see Mortal Kombat Gold added as DLC somewhere later down the line, but it's definitely nice, and they did address some of the other issues with some of the console ports too. So that was kind of nice. So we'll see what happens with that. There's potential for it to be really, really good. So we'll see what happens. No video games that are released today are perfect day one. They take many, 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 many patches to become successful. Gone are the days of, hey, we're going to release a full game on day one for everybody to play. No, it's not like that anymore. Now everything has to be, it's like, let's get a release date, and it's all about getting something out in time for release and then making adjustments as we go along. And that's what happens with everything now. It's so crazy. And there he is. There's the Bishop, one of the main protagonists in the One Punch Man movie. He is in the chat. So we have Bishop, Just Josh, One Punch Man, and Cordovan Speedster all in one live stream. Well, partially, chat. So that it doesn't get much better than that. I love that all my friends are in a movie. I'm so happy. And I'm even more excited that I'm the one making it happen. It's pretty awesome, actually. All my friends are in a movie.
And, it's a great passion project for you, Zod, just like this passion project. So one thing I want to start doing now.
Yeah, this is something that we've been that Zach had been talking about for years. I remember them talking about this before Justice League.
Absolutely. Well, see, I didn't know he was talking about this before Justice League, too. But I'm really glad you said that, Zod, because I'm glad to see Zack Snyder getting to work on his projects, his passion.
This is like this is like another passion project, like Rebel Moon. But I feel like this one's been gestating even longer.
Yeah, and guys, just I do see some other photos in here that we're going to talk about later, but I'm kind of, for this topic, I'm just kind of focused on the last photograph photo. So I'm not going to show all of them that I haven't shown previously, because that would be a whole stream in itself. But I did want to show some of the more recent ones he had. So shooting a helicopter.
That's awesome. He's such a genius with the way that he shoots things. Everything just comes out looking so cinematically beautiful and perfect. Like, I mean, he really is a true visual architect when it comes to, it's like visual poetry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one thing that even his haters don't deny. Zack Snyder's really good visually.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And then this one right here was really interesting. So I'm curious what's going on here. And if you look, it looks like half his body's disintegrated or fallen off. Like the guy that's laying down. That's what it looks like to me.
Look at how jacked Zach is. My God, that dude just man, he stays in fantastic shape. He's always.
Didn't you know what Rick and Morty said, though? That his bicep is as big as James Gunn's head.
Yeah. And I also remember James Gunn and Rick and Morty uttering the best quote of all time, "I should have listened to Snyder."
Yep, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
That's something that's something that I think a lot of people need to learn. When Zach shows you something and shows you a direction to go and tells you literally tells you or tries to explain to you, or in some way, shape, or form, maybe you should do it this way, you should kind of listen to Zack, because I think Zack knows what he's talking about. He really does.
Absolutely.
100%. Oh my God.
And now let's see. So it looks like he's leaving the Amazon right now. So thanks to the Colombian crew and actors for an amazing experience. So I don't know if that means that the movie's done filming, or if just that part of the Amazon.
He's just done he's just done in the Amazon, maybe. I don't know.
And
I don't know. He sure gets his work done though. And this is the thing with Zack, when he's left alone and he has the freedom to create and just do what he wants to do. Look at how happy he is.
Absolutely. And since this DC stuff can't happen right now because there are things that need to be worked out still, I'm glad to see Snyder getting his passion projects done in the meantime. Yes. And I'm really excited. Like, this premise I'm really excited for. I mean, this is the kind of movie I would really be excited for, even if Zack Snyder wasn't directing it. Like, I'm not going to lie. Brawler, that's what I'm going to watch just because Snyder is directing it. And I mean, I've never gotten into the UFC, just not really my thing, but I'll support that movie for Zack. Absolutely. But this one, though, I'm really excited to see.
This one looks really good. And it looks like it's going to be beautifully done. And, you got, just by going off of the photos alone, and it's just so nice to see him kind of broaden his social media footprint by posting on Instagram. Because, I mean, as cool as Vero is, it's a limited platform. It really is. And it's hard for people to get on there, and it's not very well, doesn't have a very good UI, so it's kind of, clunky in a lot of places. But to see Zack broadening his social media horizons, it just means good things for us as his fans, because we know we're going to continue to get good quality material from Zack, and it allows Zack to do now on a more high profile platform the stuff he's been doing on Vero for years and years now.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm kind of the same sentiment. Like, Vero's nice, it's cool, but it's not going to get the following that Instagram's going to get. So I'm glad to see him doing that. And here's Brad Cage, right? This is Brad Cage, isn't it?
Is that? I mean, yeah, I guess so. I think so.
Stuart Martin.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I can't. Okay, Stuart Martin.
Yeah, Stuart Martin is definitely... Because, because he was also Den. Because I know Den is Brad Cage.
Okay.
So, I love seeing Snyder, working with his same actors. That's something that's really interesting, too. When Snyder has actors, he likes to work with them.
Because those actors are... See, that's something that Zack and James Gunn have in common, you see. James Gunn likes to surround himself with the same misfit weirdo actors that have his same sensibilities, and Zack likes to surround himself with creative, good actors and people who care about quality work, just like Zack. Do you see how that works? You surround yourself with the people that are going to give you the best foundation to succeed.
Absolutely.
It's that simple.
Yes.
That's why I have to make that point. That's why I have to make another point about One Punch Man. All of you great people that I have in this movie that are making me succeed, even on days when I might feel discouraged or I feel limited because of some of my resources. I feel the need to press on and the motivation to make it the best possible movie I can, because I know that it's going to benefit everybody that is involved, and it's going to be a love letter to this community. So to me, it's I completely feel every bit of that. That whole thing about passion and surrounding yourself with the people that are going to, promote you to succeed, for sure.
Absolutely, Zod. Absolutely. And I'm really, and what up, good Austin? And I'm really excited for the last photograph. I can't wait to see it come out. And I want to make sure that on this channel I promote Zack Snyder's other projects, because I know there's this rhetoric that a lot of us were only fans of Snyder's DC. We only care about Snyder's DC, and I'm not gonna lie.
And yet the majority of us have every single movie that Zack has ever made and released, physically or digitally. We all own it. We own every single movie. So there's no way that we could be considered just fans of his DC work. If you're a fan of Zack and you're a fan of him as a filmmaker, you're going to support whatever he does. And yeah, you might not like everything he does, because that's just life. You might not like a particular project, but at the end of the day, if it's a filmmaker that you love and you support and you get on with Zack's sensibilities, you're going to want to talk about his other projects and not just his DC stuff. And that's another thing that I always appreciate too. And with that, I got to say shout out to Rebel Moon Theory, who's keeping all the Rebel Moon hype alive. It's so beautiful to see the stuff that the Curly Ray is doing. It's so amazing.
Absolutely. I love what the Curly Ray has done with Rebel Moon Theory, and I love that, Rebel Moon Theory specifically does not talk about DC on his channel, because we do need that. We do need that part of the conversation, because yes, a lot of us most interested in his DC, sure, but that doesn't mean we're not interested in his other projects. Absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. I got it as a Snyder fan because I liked his DC stuff. But then I saw some of his other work, like Rebel Moon, like Army of the Dead, like 300, like Guardians of Ga'Hoole. And I really realized I really like Zack Snyder.
Guardians of Ga'Hoole is so underrated. I mean, that is a fantastic movie, and it keeps with the motif of the whole hero's journey and thing that Zack, Zack's entire life philosophy is encased in that Guardians of Ga'Hoole movie. If you've never watched any of Zack's other movies outside of DC, watch Guardians of Ga'Hoole, and you'll change your opinion of Zack Snyder. If you're one of those people out there, I don't know, I just watch his DC stuff. No, watch Guardians of Ga'Hoole. It will give you insight to the moon, for real. It's incredible.
Unlike Obi-Wan, Soren actually tried to save his brother, and in this case, a literal brother, not a metaphorical brother.
Yeah, he didn't give up.
No, he did not. So I don't mind. It's actually very parallel, because nope, not gonna say it because you haven't seen it. It's gonna be spoiler, but he does have a similar fate to Anakin. I'm just gonna say
we should actually do at some point, Dan. We should do a watch party for Guardians of Ga'Hoole, because I think that movie deserves some love as well, because people it's criminally underrated.
Yeah, you should see it, and even though it's a Warner Brothers movie, it's not on Max, because Warner Brothers doesn't put their movies on their streaming service.
No. I actually bought it. It's a movie that you kind of have to buy, I guess, because they don't care,
Unfortunately, but hopefully the new owners will.
Yeah, the Guardians of Ga'Hoole should get its own series on Netflix. They could continue and tell more stories in that universe. It'd be fun.
Yeah, the more Zack, the better, as Netflix says. So
and maybe that's another possibility.
Definitely watch it. It's really good.
Definitely, Michael. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you will. It's good. It's really good, and it makes you think too, man. It really makes you think, because it gives you that. It kind of it kind of, what it reminded me a little of. I love your Anakin Skywalker, but it also reminded me a little bit of the Lion King. Gave me some Lion King vibes, but it feels a little more mature, doesn't it?
You're right. There is a lot of Lion King vibes in there, right? I think basically Soren, personality-wise, he's kind of like if Anakin Skywalker and Scar had a baby. You get, or not Soren, Clud. Clud, he's the brother who, which we'll get into more late. Well, I'm not going to say too much more because I don't want to spoil the movie, but I'm going to say, Bishop, no, do not watch it in the lab. Watch it on a TV. Don't watch it.
J-Man makes a great point too. It doesn't. It truly is like, it's like, it treats every audience member with respect. It doesn't treat you like you're a fool. It tries to actually impart wisdom onto you while giving you a story with a through line of life. It's really wonderful, actually. I have to say, I would actually go as far as to say, and this might be a hot take, but I think it's one of Zack Snyder's best films. I really do.
I don't know if I can really disagree with that, honestly. I think it really is that good.
Yeah.
So check out Guardians of Ga'Hoole, guys. If you have not already, check it out. But now, it's funny, Zod. We talked about Zack Snyder's Batfleck post, his first Batfleck post, and something I know some people were saying, well, that's not even Ben Affleck. That's just Richard Citrone. Is Ben Affleck Batman again? That was something, some people were saying, and I feel like Zack Snyder heard that criticism, or I don't know if I want to call it a criticism, but that feedback. So what people were saying. So I want to show not one, but two posts. So let's get back here. So here's Zack Snyder, a black and white 4x5 Polaroid. I can't even say that word. I took of Ben during the costume test. Of Ben during the costume test.
It's not Richard. Okay, Richard has a lot of great Batman photos. He really does. And Richard Citrone is a legend. But if Zack says specifically that it's Ben Affleck, then it's definitely Batfleck, for sure.
Exactly, Zod. And yes, I so hope that Richard Citrone is the stuntman for Batman in these next projects that Zack does with Batman.
Yeah, because he did retire, but I bet you he would come out of retirement for Zack.
Oh, I didn't know he retired, but hey, we also
that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I heard he'd retired.
Well, I'll put it like this. I hope that if he isn't in it, it's because of it's his own choice, not because he wasn't offered or anything.
Right. Not because he wasn't hired.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. We just, I'm sorry, but there's just so much, you got to look at that and think about it. Like, really? Like, why would Richard, it's like Zack is going to go back to his people to finish his story arc. And, this to me, a lot of these kinds of photos and stuff, I love how it stokes the flame, because Zack does take this stuff to heart sometimes. People don't realize it, but back when people kept saying, you remember back during the early release, the Snyder Cut days, when people kept saying, oh, it doesn't exist. Zack's cut doesn't exist. They kept saying that over and over and over again, that the Snyder Cut didn't exist. And then Zack finally, shows the reels, the like Zack Snyder's Justice League, like film reels. He took a picture of the actual physical film canisters and posted them. And somebody had asked him on Vero, well, why'd you post those? He says, I'm just tired of people saying that my cut doesn't exist.
And don't forget, where did you see his cut of the film? I don't mean like the actual movie. I mean like those reels. Where did you see those reels in the end? In Army of the Dead. Yeah. In the vault. the reels.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's real. It exists. It exists. And that's why I say, people can say whatever they want. They can keep telling us all the same BS all we want to, but it's very clear based on Zack's own habits, his posting habits. And if you've been following Zack since the release, the Snyder Cut days and before, you know that this is how Zack conveys things to the fan base through these photos. And nothing that Zack posts, and I've said this before, and people just don't seem to get it, nothing that Zack posts is a coincidence. When Zack posts something, there's always a double meaning behind it. Always. Every single time, each and every time. There's nothing arbitrary about what Zack is posting.
And I want you guys to remember what ZodWriter just said here, because it's going to come into play in two topics. Yeah, in two topics after this one. So remember that. So, but I just wanted to highlight, look at one of the people who liked the post. Who is that?
Yeah. Well, you got to figure she definitely wants to come back, because she was definitely done dirty. 1,000%. I mean, come on, man. They treated her like
garbage. The whole, because Gunny Poo had he had to kind of find a way to gently let her off, because they know that she has way too big of a fan base, even more than Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. So announcing her not coming back as Wonder Woman, that would have been a problem. And that one always gets me, Zod, because Gunny Poo didn't have a plan for Wonder Woman at the moment. So why not just do her third film as an Elseworld while you figure out your Wonder Woman? It's one film, get that film done.
I know why. I can give you an answer, because he never had any intention of following up with anything. The Elseworlds was just BS. He never had any intention. It was all about him. It's all about what he wants to do. It's his DCU. This is why, again, he doesn't care about anything. And Matt Reeves fans, I got news for you. He doesn't care about your universe either. So if he continues, y'all better hope that Warner Brothers gets sold, because he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about you either, and he doesn't care about Matt Reeves. He's been stringing Matt Reeves along, playing this yarn game with Matt Reeves, the same game he's been playing with David Ayer, and he played it with Gal Gadot and everybody else. And then when he lied and said, oh, Ben Affleck, he's the architect, he's going to come on here and he's going to direct for us, I bet everybody forgot about that. But that was an out-and-out blatant lie that Ben Affleck himself debunked. And yet people still come out and try to defend James Gunn like he tells the truth. You can't believe one word that comes out of James Gunn's mouth. Except when he said, the one time I think he was honest is when he said he doesn't know if it's going to be him who comes back to make any more DC movies. And I think that was the truest statement that you ever got from him, as long as he's been in charge.
And even that might be a lie, Zod, because not in the way that people may be thinking. When I think that may be a lie, it may be a lie because he knows he's not going to be in it. It's not that he doesn't know.
But he's not allowed to come out and say, I won't be back. He probably contractually can't come out and say that. So the closest you can get to that would be, I don't know if it'll be me.
Yep. Absolutely. And before I show this next Ben Affleck photo, I just wanted to highlight this too. Look who else liked it, Zod.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Our dark side.
I mean, these people are chomping at the bit to come back, because they knew how good they had it under Zack. They know what Zack is doing with these characters. Zack is respecting these characters in ways that you're never going to get otherwise.
Yeah, I saw that DC talk, and I didn't make that a topic on here though because Gal basically posted all the roles she had, not just Wonder Woman. It was like for Halloween, she was like posting all the different roles that she had, not just Wonder Woman specifically.
Sin,
Like,
if you're talking about the Ben Affleck interview, yeah, I did read that interview.
oh, send that to me.
That was the interview. I think you're talking about the interview he did where Ben Affleck actually comes out and says that he has no interest in
yeah,
working.
that one. Yeah, I know that one.
On DC, on James Gunn's DC. Like he wishes them well, and he politely declines and pretty much says that he's not interested in the direction that they're taking DC.
Gee, I wonder why.
Which was brilliant. Right. And remember, this is after James Gunn had come out and said, oh yeah, Ben Affleck, he's not Batman, but we've got something in mind for him. We're looking at Ben Affleck to direct a future DCU project, but we just don't know exactly what project it's going to be yet. James Gunn said all this. And people just forgive him and just let it go. That's okay. Right? That's okay that he could bold-faced lie on the man. And none of his fans question it. They all just sit there and like they don't care. But I will say this about Zack. Zack always tells the truth. He does. He always tells the truth. Whenever you ask Zack something directly, he tells it exactly the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest difference between Zack Snyder and James Gunn. Zack tells the truth. James Gunn lies.
Let's just say Rick and Morty portrayed the two of them very accurately.
Very accurately. I mean, that it was scary how accurate that was. I mean, when I watched that, I thought, this is incredible that this is something that actually came out. I was surprised that Zack Snyder and James Gunn both participated in it.
Well, I'm not surprised that Zack Snyder participated in it, but I am surprised that James Gunn participated in it.
We'll see. James Gunn is an attention whore, so James Gunn will do anything. But my thing with James Gunn is the way that he allowed himself to be portrayed in that Rick and Morty episode is what I thought was pretty remarkable. Like this is a guy literally allowing, this cartoon, to poke fun at him, which means he has a sense of humor about himself. But yet it seems like he's one of the most petty people on earth. But yet he allowed this cartoon to basically deconstruct him. And maybe he related to it because that's how he really is in real life. So he's like, yeah, go ahead. This is just a truthful reflection of who I am. And then, like I said, the most honest thing to come out of that was when James Gunn said, I should have listened to Snyder. That's absolutely. Literally a quote in the episode. Literally. Like, it's unbelievable. I mean, if you haven't seen that episode, you need to see it. Even if you've never seen Rick and Morty before.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like a great standalone episode that just like really like shows the entire the two different worlds that our fandoms, the Snyderverse fandom and the Gunn fandom live in. Gun fandom, if you can call it that, but it's totally two different realities. It really is.
Oh yeah. But before we move on to the next topic, I do want to just read this other portrait or this other post from Zack Snyder. This was from 3 days ago. Another Ben Affleck photo. And I really want to read the whole caption this time because this one's really important. In the portrait studio I built for Justice League, I captured this moment with Ben. I'm going to repeat this part. With Ben. no question, this man is Batman. This man is Batman. And then the camera that he uses, I cannot pronounce it, but
yes.
but
Yes, and I'm very happy that Zach, and when he posts his photos, is like detailing the lenses and stuff he's using, because it's going to help me in future films. So I'm like looking this stuff up, like, oh, okay, cool. Because if y'all think that One Punch Man is going to be my one and only film, you guys are mistaken. It's just the beginning of the ZodWriter cinematic universe, the One Punch Man cinematic universe, as it's affectionately called right now. But yeah, that would be, to me, that's awesome. Every time he posts a lens or a camera, because then I can look it up and read the details on it and find out what kind of things I need to learn. And it's really awesome. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a great point by Integrity too. It's almost as if.
Yeah, we know it's inevitable.
It's almost as if, exactly, almost. and there's more to it than that, because once again, every time Zach posts, there's always two meanings to everything that he posts. If you're a fan of his, you've learned that a long time ago.
Absolutely, Zod. Absolutely. And what I love too, Zach says the key thing: this man is Batman, not was Batman. Is Batman, as in right now.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. That's Ben Affleck's Batman.
What up, the Curly Ray?
There he is.
And despite the fact, Zack Snyder saying this, despite the fact that there's allegedly, I'm saying the word allegedly, 2 different Batman movies coming out right now, neither of which have anything to do with Ben Affleck or Zack Snyder. So, find that really funny.
Again, best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
Absolutely, Zod. To me, there's 2 best Batman out there. They are Ben Affleck and Kevin Conroy.
Well, thank you, Bishop. I appreciate that. But let me get a couple more movies under my belt. Thank you so much.
And now let's get into, if you notice, I titled the stream "The World's Finest," and it's funny. So I texted ZodWriter about doing the stream last night. This was not a topic when I texted Zack Snyder. I'm just going to say that because, I can't predict the future. So, but I'm glad this happened. I'm glad he posted a photo today. I'm just saying the timing could not have been better for Zack Snyder. So thank you. And thank you for doing it before I set up the thumbnail. I really appreciate it. So let me just
they say that Zack pays attention to everything. So,
yeah,
I'm sure Zack is aware. Like I always felt like Zack was giving me his blessing for me to do One Punch Man when he made the comments that he made about AI. And he said that, AI is here. Either you're learn to use it, learn to live with it, or you're going to be left behind.
Just don't take ChatGPT's advice all the time. Not now, because
if you're using ChatGPT for your therapist, you're going to have a big problem, people. That's just, I mean, that's, because I love now with AI, at least, with certain types of programs, you'll have certain types of programs where it'll literally tell you, take everything the AI underneath in like small print. It'll say, take everything the AI is telling you as fiction. This is not real. Do not take it seriously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But now I got to show this. So, Zach, I'm going to remove this. Oh, no, it doesn't cover anything up. So I'm going to show this post by Zack Snyder that this came today. Henry in his natural setting. And you see Henry Cavill as Superman. Well, photos of I forget, what do you call these types of
It's
photos? It's been
it's
so
film.
negative.
It's part of the film. It's film negative. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it is.
negative.
It's actually a
That's the
film. It's actually a film. It's actually part of the film negative right there. You're seeing it right there on the roll. You're literally seeing it. It's like, for real. This is what I'm talking about. See, David Cornsweet isn't Superman. Henry Cavill is Superman. You know, Robert Pattinson isn't Batman. Ben Affleck is Batman. Is, meaning present tense, meaning the DCU is about to get relegated to a pocket universe. It's kind of ironic that James Gunn would come up with a pocket universe for his Superman, considering that the pocket universe is going to be exactly where his DCU ends up. Because the real universe is coming back. The Snyderverse. Yes. Yes.
100% Zod. 100%. And I'm really glad, you know.
I honestly feel like that integrity. He was literally like the heir apparent of that old 1980s like Superboy TV show. That's exactly what he kind of is. He's like the modern equivalent of that. Because he definitely wasn't a man. He was definitely a boy, especially with the way that he acted too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. What I see, Cornsweet, I do not see as Superman. This man right here, I see as Superman, and I love.
He's a man. He's the guy. Wow.
And I love what Zack Snyder says. Henry in his natural setting. That's really interesting that he's saying that. It's kind of a weird thing to say if he's not coming back as Superman again.
Well, that's the thing, right? Again, all of these photos always have a double meaning. All of Zack's posts. So it's like Zack is basically telling us without telling us, guys, just sit tight. Everything's going to be fine.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, Zod. And I feel like Henry Cavill really deserves this because he was really screwed over by Warner Brothers, going through that public humiliation of being told to announce that you are back as Superman, back as the most iconic character right under Jesus in terms of the most recognizable symbol. And then 2 months later, you have to go back on it. That is not okay, and no good company does something like that.
And just like Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Superman. I'm sorry. It just doesn't get any better than Henry Cavill. You know, for me, I kept always going back and forth between who was the better Superman, Christopher Reeve or Henry Cavill. And the more I thought about it, it got to the point where it wasn't even a question anymore. Henry Cavill embodies Superman. Christopher Reeve set up the template of what Superman was supposed to idealistically represent. But when you look at Henry Cavill, that is Superman. That he is the living embodiment of Superman. Period. There should be no debate with anyone. Hell, even people that don't like Snyder's movies love Henry Cavill as Superman and had to admit it after this James Gunn debacle came out. I saw people that talk so much crap about Man of Steel literally come out on social media and say, yeah, Man of Steel is a better movie. Hello, you spent years talking about how crap Man of Steel was, how trash Man of Steel was, but now that you realize just how bad it can get, now you wake up and you realize what you've lost. Henry Cavill is Superman, and there will never be another to embody the role the way that he has.
You know what kind of reminds me of, Zod, and I'm going to say Justice for Fives real quick because of the analogy I'm about to give. It kind of reminds me of the whole prequel thing, the whole issue with the prequels, where the prequels came out, people hated it, people despised it, but now that we got the sequels, all of a sudden the prequels are being looked at as the as like the best thing ever.
As like peak cinema now. Yes. Remember that documentary, Batman? I don't know if you saw it, but if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. The People versus George Lucas. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't, look it up on YouTube and watch it. It's a documentary. It expounds on everything you just said. And Sin Havoc, I was actually referencing Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers himself came out on Twitter after he saw that piece of dog crap that is James Gunn's Superman, and came out with a big Twitter post with the Man of Steel poster, and actually came out and said Man of Steel is a superior film. He actually tweeted that out, and he hates Man of Steel. He hates the Snyderverse. He is so adverse to the Snyderverse, it's not even funny. And he himself came out and had to admit just how horrible James Gunn did. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And here's Zack Snyder posting these photos, even though his buddy's movie just came out pretty recently.
They'll all be back, Michael. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Well, Ray Fisher will definitely be back. Ezra Miller is back into says he's getting back into acting. And remember, Mikey Sutton even said that Ezra Miller could do this because Ezra's a supporting character, not a main character. And the only thing that changed since Mikey's saying that is that the guy who accused Ezra Miller publicly apologized and said he was wrong. That's the only thing that changed. So Ezra will definitely be back. Amber Heard, whether we like it or not, Zack Snyder said he would work with her again.
She's 100%. She's 100% coming back, without a doubt. And Jason Momoa too.
Jason Momoa needs work. Jason Momoa goes wherever the money goes, and Zack Snyder is someone who likes to use his cast. So I definitely think they will be back. And you know how if anyone watches my channel frequently, you know how I feel about the idea of recasting Ezra Miller.
He's not going to recast Ezra Miller. He doesn't have to now.
Nope. So
anybody that cares enough to research and find out that those allegations against Ezra were not true, anybody that cares enough to look it up can look it up instead of jumping to conclusion. See, and this is what I hate about the society we live in now. Fact checking has never been easier. On literally anything, you can fact check. You really can. Literally, it does not take that long.
Nope, it doesn't. People just choose not to. And
AI will literally give you the factual information and will cite sources.
Yes, you don't have to rely on AI entirely. Just click on the sources that AI cites and then see if they're true or not. So
it's unbelievable.
So yes, Ezra Miller will be back, and Ezra Miller is a superior Flash to Grant Gustin. I'm going to say it again. Ezra Miller is a superior Flash to Grant Gustin. And I'm going to say it one more time just so we have it in threes. Ezra Miller is a superior Flash to Grant Gustin.
Oh, I saw Grant Gustin campaigning to be in the trash gun universe. And I say let him have it, because the gun universe isn't going to happen anymore. So you know what? Grant Gustin, you're hired. But nobody will ever see you as the Flash because there's not going to be enough DCU movies for you to show up. Unless you're in Supergirl. That's going to be it. That's going to be the last one we see. You watch. That'll be the last James Gunn joint that we get. It'll be Supergirl. And that's a horrible movie. We already know because Sin Havoc has seen it and he told us. We already know it's going to be trash. So when that comes out, okay, and that flops and that fails, and that's an even bigger joke than Superman was, if that's even possible. I mean, it's just whoever ends up buying WB is going to look at James Gunn, and James Gunn's going to be probably going to be the first person out the door.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
James, we're not firing you, James. We're just not hiring you.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't even think that was possible, but I guess here we are. So, but Zod, with these posts, I have a theory that I want to talk about. So, a lot of people are jumping to ZSJL 2 and 3, the Nightmare movie, and I think that's definitely part of it. But here's another theory I have. In general, there's two movies I think that we need that we would need to see for a perfect completion of the Snyderverse before ZSJL 2 and 3. And I'm talking about non-filmed movies, so I'm not counting the Ayer cut in this. Man of Steel 2 and the Batfleck movie.
I read your mind. I knew what you were going to say.
The Batfleck movie because of that scene with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because they set up, it's the only movie outside of the 5-film arc that is set up in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So you can't have perfect story completion without that movie. And look, we don't know what's going to change and what's not going to change in ZSJL 2 and 3. We don't, but on the chance that Ben Affleck's Batman still dies at the end of ZSJL 3, we need that Batfleck movie first. Plus, what if because I heard rumors that both Alfred and Commissioner Gordon die in the Batfleck movie. So I would think we would need that movie to come out before ZSJL 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And Man of Steel 2. Now, I think in terms of the story, it's not necessary per se, but people forget an interview Henry Cavill said, or maybe people didn't forget, I shouldn't assume that, but I remember Henry Cavill said he was on board for Zack Snyder's story when he turns evil because of the anti-life equation. But one thing he said is he wanted to do a Man of Steel 2 first so that people could see the hero of Superman before he succumbs to the anti-life equation. And as you know, Christopher McQuarrie has been recently talking about his scrap Man of Steel 2 film starring Henry Cavill. So, and here's the last little bit of piece of evidence too. Zack Snyder has done 3 characters in his post so far, and instead of doing other cast members, he's repeating characters. Henry Cavill Superman, Ben Affleck Batman, and Joe Manganiello Deathstroke, who is the bad guy of the Batfleck movie.
And once again, every post that Zack Snyder does has 2 meanings.
So, yeah, I do think that while I do think he is teasing ZSJL 2 and 3, I think he's also teasing those 2 movies. And who knows? Is Zack going to direct both those movies? Is he just going to be a producer of those movies? He'll be involved in some way, shape, or form. But I know Ben Affleck was going to direct the Batfleck movie originally. I don't know if he's still going to do that or not, but he's clearly still interested in doing the movie in some way, shape, or form, whether it's just acting in it or acting and directing.
It would be so wonderful if we got Man of Steel 2 and James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow doesn't come out. That would be the most beautiful Christmas gift of all time. As Mikey Sutton was quoted as saying, Superman is beautiful at Christmas.
And I'll do you one better, Zod. With that happening, I would love if the Man of Tomorrow title was hijacked for Henry Cavill's Man of Steel 2.
I kind of don't want him to use it now, though, to tell you the truth, simply because James Gunn has tainted it with his crap. I would kind of rather Zack Snyder come up with something original, just because, of James Gunn putting his paws on it. We don't need James Gunn that anymore. We don't need anything associated with James Gunn's BS. So to me, I really don't care. I mean, I can understand the satisfaction in that, and finally taking something away from Gunn. But at the end of the day, I kind of just would want to be as far away from anything Gunn related as possible. The fact that Gunn even has the balls to call his movie, his upcoming train wreck pre-flop sequel, Man of Tomorrow, is just preposterous in and of itself. And it's more crap. It's just like Matt the Hack Reeves with stealing the Batman from Ben Affleck. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, I agree, Zod. I agree. So Zack Snyder or Christopher McQuarrie or whoever directs the Man of Steel 2 can definitely come up with another name for it, depending on. And again, Man of Tomorrow may have never even been a title. That was always just a fan campaign title. So for all we know, that was never even going to be a title in the first place. So, but Sin Havoc, what am I missing? What else am I missing? Is there something else that I'm missing from this? I don't know, but yeah, I think, but that's what I think. I think that we are getting, and I'm glad that you agree with that. I'm glad that you agree because I don't want to get too overboard in terms of like, oh, we're going to get this movie and this movie and this movie and this movie and this movie. I mean, hey, if we do get
No, but see, your theory makes sense because of the repetition of the characters.
Okay, Zod, is there something that Sin Havoc sent you that?
He sent me an article. Hold on. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Well, if it's an article, I don't just tell me where to go. It's not like the articles that I plan for the stream where I know where I want to look.
No, I'm going to send it to you right now. Hold on.
Okay. And that's a good reminder, Frank C. Josh Herrera, he asked Ben Affleck about the script. Why didn't Ben Affleck go into detail if he's not going to do it anymore? Okay, just send the picture is what he said.
Oh, okay. Here, I can actually just share my screen. Hold on.
Oh, you can? I didn't know that the guest could do that.
Well, yeah, you have to put it through, but I can share it.
Do I have to like approve it or something? How does that, or do you?
No, it's right there. Just...
Oh, yeah. So, oh, yeah. That's a good point. You know what? I'm going to just go directly to the post right now. So, that's a good point, Sin Havoc. So,
Catwoman.
Wait, yeah, hold on a second. So, I'm hitting the wrong button here. So,
that's more proof.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah,
that's more proof. That's more proof for your theory.
Yep. So Zack Snyder's Instagram, and here's Carlo. Carla. How do you say that last name?
She played the Silk Spectre in Watchmen. The old Silk Spectre, the Miss Jupiter. And she's the one that Zach wants to play Catwoman for Affleck.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yep, I do know about that, that she is Zack Snyder.
Carla Gugino.
Where was that? Oh, yeah. So
that there you go. That also adds to your theory. That's what Sin Havoc was saying you were missing. That adds to your theory adds credence to your theory about the movies that Zach is teasing.
Thank you, Sin Havoc. Thank you for pointing that out. So, yeah. And I'm just saying, though, I would love all these other movies right now, too, but I think these are the only two that we really need before the Batfleck, before ZSJL 2 and 3, for perfect story completion, I should say. I don't want to, say need as in we have to demand that Netflix does this and this and this, but for, a perfect completion.
Oh, yeah. For perfection, yes. You give us Man of Steel 2, you give us the Batfleck movie. It's incredible. The hype will be off the charts. If WB wanted to get themselves out of the red, they would have did this. I don't understand. They would have did this already. And that's how you know that whoever gets WB is going to have the business sense to say, listen, we're going to shit can whatever this James Gunn wank off show is. We're going to shit can this over here, and we're going to go where the real money is. We're going to stop playing games, because that's all James Gunn is doing right now, playing games.
100%. 100%, Zod. That's all he's doing. And whereas whoever
He's
buys
like
WB,
he's like fulfilling his own fantasies, jerking himself off on a regular basis. That's literally what he's doing. He's got a box of Kleenex and he's just that's what he's doing to DC. That's what his own sick, twisted fantasies. That's all he's doing. And it's quite clear. I mean, if you watched Peacemaker, you already know. You know what? That dance theory. Yes.
yeah. But hey, don't worry, Zod. Worse has been said on this channel. If you've seen me and Socks or Socks and me together, it's just
the fact that it would be funny if it wasn't so true to life. If this wasn't exactly what was happening. Honestly, it's crazy.
But I'm glad you agree with me, though, Zod. I'm glad you agree with me about this theory and that, great minds think alike. And
yeah, because this theory makes perfect sense if we follow the trajectory of the way Zack posts. Now you're gonna have people out there in the YouTube sphere that are gonna downplay it and say, they're gonna downplay it and act drunk and stupid like they always do. But that doesn't, and then they say all that while they claim to have Zack Snyder's phone number on their speed dial. Just pointing that out. So
I'm gonna say this too. If Zack Snyder posts an Ezra Miller picture, I still think that it adds credence to my theory because I think that Ezra Miller will have a cameo in the Batfleck movie because of Ben Affleck's and Ezra Miller's their characters, that Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen's relationship.
I also think that if there's a Man of Steel 2, that Ezra Miller's Flash will be in that movie as well. I think he'll be in there. I think there'll be a role for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ezra Miller, and if Brainiac is in it, Ray Fisher.
Yep.
I know Mikey Sutton said that Ezra Miller was going to have a cameo when Andy Muschietti was going to direct the Man of Steel 2. Because that was a theory. That was one thing Mikey Sutton said, that Andy Muschietti was also going to direct Man of Steel 2 and that Ezra Miller was going to have a cameo in it.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, well, integrity. That's what we all need. Honestly, it's criminal that we haven't seen that. Honestly.
And what I want them to do, if we do get that Muschietti cut, refilm some of Henry Allen's scenes with Billy Crudup. Why am I saying some? Well, because I think there's a way you can not completely cut Ron Livingston out of the movie. All you have, basically, in the main timeline, in the main, the real timeline, Billy Crudup. But I'm just saying, Barry Allen goes back in time, and in this new timeline, all you need to do is just reshoot Ezra Miller saying, "Dad, that you is that you?" And that Barry shenanigans.
Zack Snyder could pull an Army of the Dead where he replaced that one actor, where he digitally replaced the actor that got cut out. Remember, in Army of the Dead.
Yes. I remember that. So Zack Snyder could help Andy Muschietti, and maybe could help David Ayer if Margot Robbie's playing hardball with the Ayer cut. Just saying, David Ayer could be like, okay, fine, you don't want my cut released, fine.
This is a hot take, but you know what I would do? Honestly, I'd bring Lady Gaga back, and I'd let Lady Gaga play Harley Quinn instead of Margot Robbie. I think she would have potential if you gave her a good story. I know she wasn't particularly good in Joker 2, but that's because Joker 2 wasn't a good movie. But if you actually give her something to work with, I think she could pull it off.
And wait, we think we're going to get a Flash trilogy, Sid Havoc?
Oh my God, really?
I mean,
maybe if that happens, we'd get the real Flashpoint storyline finally.
And I don't know, in terms of recasting Harley Quinn, if they do the Tig thing with the Ayer cut, maybe. But honestly, I'd rather they just don't have Harley Quinn in it if they release the Ayer cut with Margot Robbie. Because I just don't think. Here's my thing with recasting. it's a big continuity error. To me, this person magically turns into this person. I don't like it. I understand sometimes it's needed for the story. So if the character is essential, then I understand a recast. I just don't think Harley Quinn's essential enough to recast her. But yeah, I could totally see them doing how they would do the Flashpoint movie though. They would have to find a way to not make it overly redundant with the original, with the Flash movie that we already got.
Unless they make the Flash movie that we already got a separate timeline.
Well,
they somehow do some time scrambling with that and make it possible, because we know that Ezra ends up in a George Clooney variant of the Snyderverse at the end of the end of the movie. So
I'm just saying, if we get the Muschietti cut, that's not a thing anymore. Like, I'm just saying, well, here's another way we could get the real Flashpoint movie. Is maybe, what if it's incorporated? We know that Zack Snyder changed his storyboards. And the only thing that would really need a change to not be redundant is just the motivation for the timeline. What if, in ZSJL 3, when Barry tries to reverse the timeline, one of the attempts, they're in the Flashpoint universe, and that's when we get the Flashpoint story, and instead of the letter scene, we get something even better. With, Batman getting the letter, we get something even better. Ben Affleck himself meets Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, they could go with that route. Yeah. Could work.
And that's a great point, because before we were just hoping for a licensing deal, I was like, yeah, just give us ZSJL 2 and 3, fine. But now that where Netflix will likely own this stuff, yeah,
right.
No.
The thing that I was trying to say early on is that I would prefer if Netflix got all of Warner Brothers, because this is exactly where we are now with what Frank is saying. Yeah, no more limits.
Yeah, because the thing is, there likely would have been limits. They may have limited, if let's say Zaslav greenlit allowed this to happen while Gunny Poo was doing his universe. Gunny Poo may be able to say, hey, you can't have this character in it, you can't have this character in it, you can't have that character in it, you can't have that character in it. That's how a licensing agreement works. The company gets to decide what characters you can and can't use. Not that every character is an individual charge. I'm not saying that. Whereas this is even better. So
you're right, Integrity, but what I like about the fact that we got that Clooney ending was the fact to show that it's not the Snyderverse, that Ezra did not end up back in the Snyderverse. He ended up in a variant of the Clooney verse, like an amalgamation of the Clooney verse and the Snyderverse, or the Clooney verse and the Justice verse. But he did not end up back in the Snyderverse. So that is the one good thing to come out of it, that wasn't the Snyderverse. So it could be completely dismissed. And whatever Flash movie they do moving forward, if we don't get the Muschietti cut, could completely ignore that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'll say the bad CGI, for all we know, all those scenes could have been Gunny Poo notes, too. We don't know, because
for real,
last minute.
He went in and changed. I'll never forget Nicolas Cage, because Nicolas Cage was asked directly on video about his cameo in The Flash. And he literally came out and said, I don't know what they did, but those aren't the scenes that I filmed.
Yeah.
So we've got Nicolas Cage stuff, Integrity, that we haven't even seen. They just did some stupid CGI crap and didn't even consult Nicolas Cage about it. Nicolas Cage came in, he shot a few scenes, and they didn't use the scenes that he shot. Just like Henry Cavill came in, shot some stuff, they didn't use his stuff. They didn't use the majority of Ben Affleck's stuff they cut. So, yeah.
Well, because Henry Cavill wasn't in it as Superman in that movie. He was just in it as Clark Kent, I think, is how his ending was. He
looked like reporter Clark in the scene. Yeah.
But
That was actually filmed, by the way.
So
it
there's a lot of
exists.
tension. The Flash First versus the Rogues Gallery and Reverse Flash. So wait, Sin Havoc, is the Muschietti cut part of the Flash trilogy, or would they just completely ignore the Flash movie and do something new completely? All I'm saying is a better star Ezra Miller. If it's going to be Snyderverse adjacent, Snyderverse canon, Ezra Miller, or I'm out. No Grant Gustin. I'm going to say this again because I'm tired of the Grant Gustin fans.
No, Grant Gustin is being hired for the DCU. But since there's not going to be a DCU in the very near future.
Huh. Interesting.
See, that actually makes sense.
So, anyway, lots of theories we're talking about here, and I'm just saying this, if they do a reboot, I kind of hope they just say that Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's the only canon. Anything else, if it's not our project, is not canon. But we can release director's cuts and make them canon, like Wonder Woman, the original third act, the Ayer cut, and the Muschietti cut. That's how those 3 films can be canon in this new continuity. So, StreamYard being stupid again. So, okay, here we are. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Batman. Absolutely. And as a fan of Supernatural, I was really excited when Jeffrey Dean Morgan was Thomas Wayne. And he was in Supernatural and it was good, not the shit it turned into after season 5. So, anyway, that's a whole nother rant that I will get us off topic, but now I want to go on to this. Netflix is officially in the race for WB. It's officially announced right now that Netflix is in the race after.
Oh, but Patan, I thought they were out of it. I thought the vice president came out and said, "Oh, Netflix isn't bidding for Warner Brothers."
Yep, that's what the haters were saying.
Imagine that. I thought I saw something about that on Film Donkey's channel. Oh well. I don't know. I guess he got it wrong again. Imagine that. He got it wrong again. Go figure.
Gee, what a shocker that is. I would never have thought that. But here's what I really love. God damn these ads. Oh, sorry for any Christians out there for my language with that. But now Netflix is exploring Warner Brothers' bid and taps investment bank that handed Paramount Skydance. And that's what I really love. Netflix has retained financial advisory from Morales and Company to explore potential bid for, and I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, but they're taking the same advisory of this merger and/or acquisition, because I know Sin Havoc gets really big on those differences. But anyways, the same bank that evaluated that, really interesting. Yeah. And the streamer is looking into it to move on possibility to move on part of WBD. And that's what I really love. And also a reminder that Paramount's bids have been rejected multiple times, but I've always said, I don't think Netflix is going to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. I think they're going to buy the studio and streaming division or company. That's the part that they want. They don't, because that's what they were saying. It's like Netflix didn't want like the cable networks and stuff. And I agree with that.
No, they have no use for that. So what would they do with it? They would end up, if they got that, they would acquire all that debt and then they'd have to sell it off anyway because they're not using it.
And thank you for repeating that comment, Sin Havoc, because I know you said it earlier, but I'm glad you said it here where we're talking about it. So European markets seem to think it's a done deal because, the stuff is global, right? Companies are global. Even though, yes, it's an American company, it still affects the whole world. So the whole world, I think, has to get involved in it somehow. And I love these mock hashtags. RentZSJL, rents Snyderverse to Netflix, sells the shell to anyone but Netflix, and well, I don't know. I still think an acquisition is a type of merger. Not all mergers are acquisitions, but an acquisition is basically a type of merger, I would say. It's like a square and a rectangle. But anyways. But Zod, you know what I heard though from someone? I heard that Paramount's not going to let Netflix get WB.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. It's not really up to them. If they're the highest bidder and they give you the best offer, you're gonna do what's best. Honestly, the people that are you kidding me? The people that owned Twitter before Elon Musk came in and bought it said the same thing. Oh, they didn't take it seriously. They're like, we don't want him to buy Twitter. We want to keep Twitter the way it is. But then once they found out what that dollar amount was going to be, once they found out what the money was going to be, they sure changed their tune and said, oh, but we're doing what's best. Selling it to Elon Musk is what's best for the platform. So what makes these idiots think that WB would be a barrier to Netflix purchasing them, as if it's some sort of a religious fervor against Netflix purchasing their company, when they know that would probably be the best deal for them. If it's the best deal for them, they're going to take it, regardless of what some fanboys online think. I'm sorry.
I'm not, and thank you, Frank. See, I've seen the screenshots. I'm not going to share them though, because I don't like to direct. I mean, I don't indirectly call people out, but I don't like to directly call people out because I don't like to give them the
no, but it's fun. No, but it is fun to still talk about them.
Oh yeah, like I'll say Shula Shill. I have no problem saying that he's a Shula Shill that said that. But
yeah, of course.
And I kind of joke about this, Zod. I joke that if Paramount were to somehow get WB before Netflix, I joke that Netflix would just respond by just buying Paramount Skydance. They're like, okay, fine. You can have WB, but we're going to buy you guys now.
See, and that actually wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
I mean, I wouldn't want those two studios under one umbrella because I would want them to... I wouldn't want that to be one less major theatrical studio out there, as I've said on previous streams. And yeah, I know, Sin Havoc. I know. I mean, I was actually a double major in business analytics and marketing, so I should be better about some of this stuff. But yeah, it's exactly what I thought is that, or what we've all been saying. Netflix is in the bid. I guess, Zod, what are some of your thoughts on this? The fact that they're getting the same financial advisor, the same bank that Skydance got for Paramount.
Well, for starters, I think it's happening. And I don't really, I just love the anybody but Netflix mentality that these people have. And the only reason people like Film Donkey and all these other people have the mentality that they have about Netflix is not because they have anything against Netflix. It's because they hate the SellSnyderverse to Netflix fandom. That is why they are so against it. They hate us so much that they want anybody but Netflix to buy WB. It has nothing to do with Netflix as an actual company, has nothing to do with Zack Snyder, because some of these double agents that go around talking all the crap that they talk would be just as excited for more Snyderverse as we are.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to admit that because they don't like the Snyderverse fandom. They don't like the Cell fandom in particular. So they're going to do whatever they can to rally against the possibility of this happening, because they know that it's a win for the Cell movement, and they can't spin that any other way. If it comes out that, and it gets announced, Netflix has acquired
Warner Brothers,
then it's over for them. They've completely lost the plot because they were the ones saying this whole time, making it a joke, laughing at the Cell movement, acting like Cell was never a thing, acting like they already tried creating a new hashtag, acting like they,
Oh God.
acting like
Yeah.
they're playing a role. It gets so, it's so cringe, the behavior that you see from the same clowns over and over again who claim to be Zack Snyder supporters. Like I said, I don't care what you think of me personally, but if I'm doing something that has a direct impact positively on something that you support and you're for, then you should be supportive of it too. I don't understand this. I don't care if Skywalker, the Jedi, Leon of the New Geeks, and Necron and Austin. I don't care if they hate my guts. I don't care. They're doing something that I support. I support the Cell movement. So if they're doing something that I support, I'm going to continue to support it, regardless of how if there's personal issues behind the scenes. It doesn't bother me because I am in support of something. And I'm not saying that there's an issue. I'm just giving that as an example, just to be transparent here. What I'm saying is you can dislike the people that are running the Cell movement. You can have issues with the people that are running it. But if they're doing something that you support, and it's something that's going to benefit you, and it's something that you want to see more of, you should be in support of it no matter who's in charge. That's all I'm saying. And I don't understand these people that just because they didn't come up with it themselves, they're against the idea of it because they weren't involved in it. And I'm so sick of this mentality. See, this is why people in the world can't come together to make the world a better place, because everybody has their own egos. They can't check their egos at the door for a good cause. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. It's like we all have a role to play. Okay, we all have something that we're trying to contribute. And I believe that it is necessary for people to learn that and be able to tell the difference between, oh, I don't like these guys, so I'm not going to support what they do. That's not how it's supposed to be. You support what you believe in. You support what is going to benefit you and benefit the people around you. You don't vote against your own interests, and you don't vote against the people who have your backs. And that's the thing that I'll never understand about these people that are so against Netflix. It's ridiculous to me, and are so against the Cell movement. So shout out to SellSnyderVerseToNetflix. It's a wonderful, wonderful movement. We're all friends here. We're all family here. We're all in a good spot. And the fact of the matter is, this is gonna succeed. We're gonna win. And people need to realize that. And the haters are going to have a tough time trying to figure that out. I can just imagine what the film donkey is going to be like when this finally happens. His head is going to freaking explode live on screen. You're going to see snot coming out of his nose and smoke coming out of his ears. It's going to be a sight to behold. Like, how are you going to reconcile that when you've been preaching against it for the last 2-3 years? How are you going to how are you going to face your chat and talk about it? I'll tell you one way he's going to do it. He's going to be very, very drunk when he does it. And that's all I have to say about that.
I love what you said, Zod, and there's something in there that you said that was really important, coming up with another hashtag. People who are against Netflix are now also coming up with this hashtag about selling WB to Netflix. And it's like, now that you're on the winning side, now that you see that Netflix is the winning side, you're trying to change the hashtag to make it about you. But here's what people need to remember. This sale has not, as far as the public's concerned, I know people are saying maybe it's done behind the scenes. I'm talking about as far as the public is concerned, this deal has not happened yet. This acquisition has not happened yet. We don't want to be giving out hashtags that engage with Warner Brothers. And quite frankly, even if this gets announced, I still don't want to do hashtags that engage with Warner Brothers until the deal actually closes.
Michael, I want, can you pull up Michael's, sorry, but can you pull up Michael's comment? Here's what you got to know, Michael, about Campia and Robert Meyer Burnett. What you have to now know is they know what's going on, okay? They already know that there's a good chance that this is going to happen. But what they're doing is they're promoting what their people want to hear. See, this is what these YouTubers do. They come out and they'll say things not necessarily because they don't want to prop up one side over the other, and it doesn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense. But make no mistake, Mike, they know exactly what's going on, which is why it really makes no sense at this point to be talking against it, because you know already the writing is on the wall. Once that article came out that said that it's official that Netflix is bidding for Warner Brothers, that should shut everybody up instantly, because people have been going around saying, "Oh, it's never going to happen." They're deferring to little articles where the vice president says that they're not doing it. Well, obviously they are, because now it is legitimate. It is a legitimate thing. You can look it up. You can independently verify that, yes, Netflix is bidding for Warner Brothers. So that already debunks all of these people already. So at this point, they all need to shut up, and they all need to prepare for the fact that this is about to happen. I really don't understand it. I don't even really understand the idea of just trying to appease an audience. Just tell the truth to your audience. That's all you have to do. Just be honest. Report the news.
Look at how much I defend Ezra Miller. I know that's not popular with a lot of people. I mean, even though with like the Grant Gustin fan community, I know that, but I do it anyways because I'm honest. So, and
yeah, Frank, I know that too. I know that in particular, with Rob, that he's friends with James Gunn, and that he wanted James Gunn to succeed, because he was a friend. He's a friend of James Gunn. He knows James Gunn. He wants his friend to succeed. And I understand that, but at the same time, he had his chance to succeed, and he failed in spite of all of the gaslighting, all of the lying, all of the BS. He had his chance, and he failed 1,000%. I'm going to tell you right now, I will say that I will be the first person to say this. I absolutely love Robert Meyer Burnett. He has been a friend of mine for years. He's been a friend of mine since before I knew any of you. I've known Robert Meyer Burnett for so long. Him and I mean, we've been friends. We go way back. And I will tell you right now, the thing I love about Robert Meyer Burnett is him and I vehemently disagree on this issue. We really do. We disagree about James Gunn. Him and I will go back and forth in our little DMs back and forth to each other all the time about James Gunn. We'll go back and forth, but we'll go back and forth in a playful way because we respect each other. We're friends, and we're not going to stop being friends over this tribal, Cape bullshit. We'll never stop being friends over this stuff. But the thing that I just find so funny is, you have your view, I have my view, and I can still respect you even if I disagree with you. Because here's the thing. I know James Gunn is his friend, but I have absolutely no respect for James Gunn. I despise James Gunn. So I have no. So it's just funny to me because I can go back and forth because I don't really care. But at the same time, like I said, I personally, I have no issues, with Robert Meyer Burnett. But when it comes to that, yeah, we will go back and forth. Him and I used to go back and forth at each other during the Release the Snyder Cut days too. Most people don't know this, but him and I had some epic battles back and forth on Twitter over Release the Snyder Cut, because he used to talk about he was one of those people that used to say, "Oh, it's not coming out. It'll never be released. Oh, it's not. It doesn't exist." He was one of those "it doesn't exist" people. And then he finally changed his mind and came around to the idea that, oh yeah, it exists, but it'll never get released because of the money, because of the financial. With Robert, it's always about the financial aspect, right? And so I always just thought that was funny because he always goes back to the finances. But if you look at this situation here, it's more economically viable for WB if Netflix buys them than anybody else. I'm pretty sure Netflix has worked out the money and knows exactly how much to offer. So you know what? I think we're going to win this one, guys. And I cannot wait to see the responses. And I cannot wait for the next time I talk to Robert Meyer Burnett after this happens. Honest to God, I cannot wait. I am looking forward to that. I am looking forward to calling Robert up and being like, "Hey, Rob, so you know, how'd that work out? How'd that Paramount merger work out for you?" I really cannot wait. I am looking forward to that. I will definitely be, because I'm going to be talking to Robert in the near future anyway, because I'm gonna do a screening for him for One Punch Man, so he'll get to watch One Punch Man, and we'll get a chance to catch up and talk about some things. And I know that we'll talk about this whole Netflix thing. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun conversation. But what I want people to realize, and what I want people, never lose sight of the fact that your friends are your friends. Okay, you may disagree with them. You might not always agree. You know, me and Bat Dan don't always agree on stuff, but Bat Dan and I are good friends. And when you're good friends with people, you know, you can look past things. You don't have to agree on every single issue. Okay, you can have disagreements, but you know, you just have to learn people just have to learn how to navigate and learn how to realize that just because you disagree with somebody on one or two issues doesn't mean that person is your mortal enemy. And that's the problem with a lot of the online discourse that we see nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Zod and I, like you said, we disagree on the Flash movie.
Absolutely, 100%. It's funny because I disagreed with Robert Meyer Burnett on the Flash movie too, because Robert Meyer Burnett really loves the Flash movie and thought that the Flash movie was the perfect send-off movie for the Snyderverse.
I mean, I don't go that far. I mean,
well, I'm just telling you that's what he said. So I you know, hey.
So I'm basically in between you and Robert Meyer Burnett in terms of the Flash movie. I don't love it as much as he did, but I don't hate it as much as you do.
I just hate it because of the potential, because of all the things I know that it was supposed to be. And for everything, like Integrity 101 says, there's a good movie in there somewhere, like a really good movie. Like it had potential. You know, Integrity was saying this movie has potential to be great, had potential to be one of the best comic book movies of all time, and it got squandered because of somebody like James Gunn, because of his notes, because of his stupidity, because of him constantly wanting to meddle in everything and do everything that he wants to freaking do. Yeah, and that's why I say I don't begrudge anybody who enjoyed the Flash movie for what it was. I don't have any, you know, that's not what my problem is. My problem is that this movie, you know, for all intents and purposes, should have been a masterpiece. That's why we need to see the Muschietti cut.
100%, 100%. And you know, I think with Netflix, I think it's very possible. And at the end of the day, this just shows right here. Netflix is in the bid. They know it's over. The haters, the doubters, they know it's over at this point, because the thing is, before we move on to the next topic, Netflix has the most money out of anyone who wants to buy it. More money than Comcast, more money than Universal. I know that Apple and Amazon are also rumored. And I know technically, yes, the parent company of those probably have more money. I know Amazon for sure. I think Apple too. The parent company has more money than Netflix, but Amazon, their primary business, they're an online shopping service. Apple, their primary business is the iPhones, the Apple products they sell in the stores. They're not media entertainers. They don't fund most of their money to those divisions. That's not what they do. So in terms of that, Netflix has the most money. So yeah, I think Netflix is going to get it. And I want to kind of go on to this next topic now, because I don't know. I would still rather see Matt Damon as Two-Face, honestly, given his and Ben Affleck's relationship. But
That would be awesome.
I could see him being Reverse Flash.
Or he could play Hush.
Oh yeah, Hush. That's another good one. So we'll see, though. We'll see. But if Sin Havoc is right, because I still feel like the Batfleck movie, a lot of that casting is going to be done by Ben Affleck. But anyways, though, now I want to go on to this topic now. WB could be bought by Christmas. I know, or I say in question mark, because I know people saw that Christmas tree logo in my thumbnail, and they're like, Batdan, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? And since it's after Halloween, I'm less, I don't mind seeing Christmas stuff as much right now. But now I'm putting a question mark because this is rumor right now. So let me just pull up this post real quick. So I want to share this post right now. And I want to clarify right now, this is speculation, guys. This is not confirmed fact. So breaking, CNBC has reported that Warner Brothers will most likely be sold before Christmas. Now, I haven't seen the article for this, so I'm treating this as speculation, but I think it's very possible, because here's the thing. I know people say, Batdan, be patient, and I do believe that Netflix would have preferred to wait till after the split, because they want to just buy Warner Brothers. They don't want the whole company. But the thing is, if other companies are in the race right now, Netflix may not be able to afford to wait. So I think it's very possible with this bidding war that Netflix wants to get it, swoop it up before some other company does. And hey, you know what? This is fair for what we're talking about. And it's after Halloween, so I can forgive this a lot more. But here's the thing too. People talk about how after, they want to buy part of the company, they have to wait till the split. Disney didn't do that for Fox, though, because remember, Disney bought part of Fox. They didn't buy all of Fox, and there was no split that happened. So Netflix can still buy part of a company and not buy the whole thing before a split. They could just go to Zaslav and say, hey, we want to buy these assets from your company. We want to buy the assets you're going to split off from the streaming and studios, and we want that, and only that. They can still do that. So I think it's very possible that we could still get this before Christmas, because in a bidding war, time may not be of the essence. Just saying, guys, time may not be of the essence here. So I'm just saying it is absolutely possible that Mikey Sutton's phrase, Superman is beautiful at Christmas, could have a meaning that even he didn't think about at the time.
Remember, a double meaning.
So, yes, exactly. WB Picture Studios, DC Comics Studios, HBO Max. Again, they can just buy those assets. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I wouldn't be surprised, Batman. I mean, I honestly, this actually makes the most sense out of everything we've been hearing, from before up to this point. This really makes sense. It's a beautiful thing to think about. And the fact that it actually makes sense is even more beautiful,
Yeah, but I do know that, I do know that, Frank. I do know that, but they do need to. The problem is, even Paramount wants to rush it. They are a competitor, so. But yeah, exactly. I love what you said, Zod. So I just want to shout that out. I just wanted to kind of share that real quick. This is speculation, but I do think, based on reading the tea leaves, that I think it's very doable right now. So.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm going to kind of share this real briefly, but shout out to Nessa Noel for sharing. Nessa Noel, I pronounced that wrong earlier, for sharing this in one of the chats. But hold on, let me clicking the wrong button here. But here we are. So Netflix announces a 10-for-1 stock split to boost share accessibility. Netflix announced a 10-for-1 stock split aimed at making it high-price shares more accessible to employees and retail investors. Shareholders of record on November 10th will receive 9 additional shares for each one held, with God, these stupid ads. With distribution set for November 14th, the stock trading on the split-adjusted basis, starting Monday, the anniversary of that god-awful Justice League movie. So, I find it really interesting they're changing up things right now with the stock. I don't know, does that seems like, I'm just saying, if you buy a major company, your stock value is going to rise even more. So I think they're getting ahead of something, because I feel like if you're doing something like this, something's going to change with your company soon. Something major. That's my opinion anyways. I'm not big on how all that finance technical stuff works, but that's what I'm theorizing. I don't know. What do you think, Zod?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and I believe that, like Integrity says, we will win regardless.
Absolutely. So I wanted to kind of share that real quickly, because Nessa shared that in one of the chats, and I thought that was a really good point, that things are happening. You know, I'm just saying with the Christmas thing or by Christmas thing that one post shared, and now this, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon, and they need 8 weeks to rest and Wait, what do you mean 8? Doesn't that stuff take like a year to finalize? What do you mean 8 weeks? I mean, if it only takes 8 weeks, great, but doesn't it take like a year to finance all that, to approve and finalize all that stuff, because of, antitrust laws and all that? Want to make sure that it's not a monopoly, or maybe because there's like different assets, they're not like the same company. Like, since Netflix isn't a theatrical studio, maybe that's why it doesn't take as long. Again, that technical stuff, I don't know. I'm a fan of movies, not all this business stuff. That Netflix. Interesting points. So, but yeah, so I just want to share that real quickly. And now I also want to give a quick shout out to ZodWriter and Bishop for the It's Coming song, SellSnyderVerseToNetflix. They did a remix of the SellSnyderVerseToNetflix song. I'm not going to share it, but the link's in the description, because I want you guys to watch it. So check it out. I love the work that you and Bishop did for that song. It's a great song, and relevant now more than ever. It's coming.
It's definitely coming. And I just want to say thank you, Bad Dan, for even mentioning it and talking about it, because again, we're all trying to do our part to promote SellSnyderVerse to Netflix. And just again, in case you missed it at the top of the show, I did mention the fact, a brief spoiler for One Punch Dan, that the SellSnyderVerse to Netflix movement is referenced in the One Punch Dan movie. So SellSnyderVerse is a thing in the One Punch Dan universe. Just so that you know.
And good. And Bishop, I'm glad you were still in the chat to hear this. So absolutely. So great work that you and Bishop did for this song. And thank you again for coming on, Zod. It's really good having these conversations. I love your rants. I love all the rants you go on. It's really great. And I think we have really great discussions on here. So thank you again, because it's nice
always fun. It's always fun to talk about this, because I know we're going to get to a point where we're going to be talking pretty soon about this thing being official. And I can't wait for that, because I can already feel it. It just feels right. It feels in the air. I'm getting Mikey Sutton vibes right now. Like, things are looking up for us. And I feel like Mikey Sutton is looking down at us now. And we are on the precipice of something great. So It's coming.
Absolutely. And anything else you want to promote for your channel?
Man, all I gotta say is you guys get ready because One Punch Dan is coming soon. I have a lot of, I am so excited to bring this movie to you guys. I am just chomping at the bit to show it to you. I cannot wait. Bat Dan, I cannot wait for you and I to sit down and personally watch this movie together. I cannot wait to put this out for people as soon as possible to see it. I'm wrapping it up. I'm getting it done as we speak. I'm literally I feel like I am so close to the end right now. I can see the finish line. I'm so excited. And that's why I say One Punch Dan is my main thing. It's my main thing right now until I'm finished. And then when I'm finished, you'll know, because I'll start doing live streams on my channel again. I'll start doing other things. You'll start seeing me more active in other chats. I'll be showing up more in Skywalker's chats and other people's chats. You'll be seeing me a lot more often because I'll be a lot more available and I'll have a lot more free time. So One Punch Dan is almost here. So I'm super excited for everybody to see it. I'm super, super happy to be here with you, to take time away and come and chat with you about all this great stuff. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for being my friend, and thank you for inviting me to join you for this stuff. Appreciate it.
Anytime, Zod. I always love having you on. We have great discussions, and it's really great to have you on here. And yes, I cannot wait for One Punch Dan, and I cannot wait for you to continue doing live streams after that, because I think there'll be a lot of fun stuff that we'll have.
Especially once I think it's happening at the right time, because this is about to happen, and then think of all the things. There's great things there's going to be to talk about.
Yes, absolutely. And coming up for me on my channel, well, I also want to check out Sox's stream last night. I was on it.
Actually, check that out tonight. Yeah.
And if you saw Sin Havoc made a comment, made a joke about something I endorse or that I advocate for, check out that stream for the context of that. Because all I made a point of saying is healing factor shouldn't matter what they do if they have a healing factor. That's all I said. But anyways, check that out. And actually, next week, Sox and I already talked to Sox about this. We are going to be reviewing Iron Man 2 on Marvelous Discussions, because Crime at Christmas Time will be coming out soon, and Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie. We already reviewed Iron Man 1, so to get ready for Iron Man 3, for that review for Crime at Christmas Time, we have to review Iron Man 2. So that will be coming out next week. And of course, there'll be more news as we get more of this Netflix news of buying WB and the Snyderverse revival. Be on the lookout for that, because I can't advertise that yet because I don't know what news is going to drop soon. But I'm really hoping for an Ezra Miller picture soon, so that Zack Snyder can say, "Suck it, Grant Gustin fans. Ezra Miller is my Flash." So hoping for that. But
I got a question for you, and this is just a hypothetical before we go. Now, I know you love Zack Snyder. I know you love the Snyderverse. I know you're excited for more. But what happens, and I'm not advocating for this, I'm not saying this is going to happen. In fact, I don't think this is going to happen. But I just want to know what you would do if Zack Snyder replaced Ezra Miller with Grant Gustin. What would your view be at this point, at this stage?
I would say I would know that's not Zack Snyder. I would know that Zack Snyder was being forced, because Zack Snyder would never do that. But if he did do that, there's not many things that would make me question Zack Snyder. Okay, there's not many things that would. That is one of the only things that would probably make me question Zack Snyder. Not even just replacing Ezra Miller, but doing it specifically with Grant Gustin.
Yeah.
That would be like, what are you doing? Like, first of all, I would definitely feel like it's not Zack Snyder. I would say it's more likely that Zack Snyder would get replaced with some alien clone than Zack Snyder himself doing that.
Okay.
So.
Okay, well, I was just curious.
It's it's a fair question. It's a fair question. So, but guys, if you like this stream, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and great banter and discussions such as these. And on that note, any final words, Zod?
Pow pow.
Have a bat-tastic day.